A lot of people say, oh, with the advent of podcasts, radio is going to die. And it's not because I work in the medium primarily. Radio will never die. What radio will do is evolve.
Yeah.
So radio was here before TV.
Yep.
It didn't die. Radio was here before color TV. It didn't die. Radio was here before 24-hour news channel CNN. It didn't die.
Big T, big T, big T. Big T, big T, big T. Big T, big T, big T. Big T, big T, big T.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone to the Big Talk podcast, where we talk about the story of the African youth and many other stuff that goes on in pop culture and everything that's relevant in pop culture and everything that we talk about. Today we have our guest on set with us right here. He goes by Osato EDK, and he's a media personality at Sound.
He's
Sound
pretty
City
used
Radio.
to this.
Yeah.
He's used to mics.
Yeah, I've been behind the mic for like 10 years. So.
Wow. You're an OG.
So no.
10 years is OG status
Nah,
in any industry.
I think like
Wait, how long have you
20,
been? How long have you been
I
doing
started
this?
doing radio in November 2012.
Yeah,
So you're our sensei. So like we're everything we're doing now.
But I feel
just,
like
adepts.
Yeah.
I feel like
Teachers.
radio. Yeah, radio is like the granddaddy of podcasts, but still, it's like different games if you really look at it. But I also started hosting a podcast in 2016. So
Oh, wow.
Oh, sick.
What was it called? Or what is it called?
it was
So
called the Stretch Cast. I had a guy, my friend Chika, and I. We used to hang out.
Yeah.
We had a topic. We used to talk about bushes, talk about nasty things, good stuff as well.
Bushes and nasty things.
But we also talked about social issues that affect young people. We tried to do like a reunion episode during the NSAS period, but we live in different cities, so that's
Oh,
always
yeah.
tough,
So it became stressful.
Yeah, I
I see
got
that.
So you're the host of What's Up ABJ on Sound City.
Yeah.
That's a morning show, right?
It's a morning show 5 times a week, weekdays really. And,
Okay.
I host the Top 20 Nigeria chart show. It's a countdown show Sundays in 5 Nigerian cities.
Wow.
Sick.
It's Enugu, Port Harcourt, Lagos, Abuja, and Kano.
That's big.
Mad.
Yeah.
So what's it like working in radio in Nigeria? Like what is that experience like? What's the journey like? since you've been
Well, I
doing
mean, for starters, you will never be rich if you do only radio in Nigeria.
Mad.
I'm just joking, but maybe not. But radio is incredibly fun.
Yeah, I
I
guess.
think I get to play really loud music for 4 hours every weekday. It's sick. It's also an opportunity to connect with all sorts of people. I host a morning show. That means that my audience is varied. There's kids and their parents. There's
Kids going to school.
people going to
People
work.
going to office.
There's couples. I talk to all sorts of people every morning,
Facts.
and it's a blessing.
So you get like phone calls, people calling in. and all
deaf,
that.
man.
That's
Deaf.
interesting.
Do you not
That's
listen
very
to
interesting.
radio shows?
That's the
I'm getting the sense like
I do
you
and
don't
I
really
don't.
know how this thing works.
I do and I don't. So I listen to radio show podcasts.
I get what you mean. What you mean. I mean, I was driving down here for like 20 plus minutes, and I popped on a podcast and I was just listening.
Yeah.
So I get what.
I
Now
use
it's
my
fancy.
Apple podcast thing is full of. I'm subscribed to
You
that.
get
a
me?
lot.
I have like 3
Seriously?
podcast apps because I have podcast subscriptions that I like listening to on a certain kind of app. It gives me a different experience.
That's
You get me?
mad.
You get
That's
me?
interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of, do you know that Breakfast Club? I heard they have closed their run. Do you
have
ever
closed their
check
what?
them?
Yeah,
They shut down.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think anybody who's ever done like urban radio knows about the Breakfast Club. Is a fan of, maybe not a fan, because people hate them, people
Yeah,
love them.
they love
Yeah.
and hate them.
But Charlemagne has really moved the needle on the culture. Angela Yee,
Yeah.
DJ Envy as
Angela
well.
Yee.
So I think what's happening is it's going to change. But
Yeah.
Angela Yee is leaving to have her own show.
Oh.
That's what's happening.
Okay.
She's going to be hosting a show called Way Up with Angela Yee.
And that's
Oh.
growth. That's growth.
That's big growth because it's going to be airing. It's going to be nationally syndicated. It's going to be like maybe 10, 20 plus markets in America.
Wow.
It's still the same company that owns the station that Breakfast Club is on. So she's still going to be on Power 105 New York, which is where the Breakfast. Only she's like so.
Branching
Breakfast
out.
Club ends at maybe 10 o'clock. There's a DJ mix. She starts at 12. That kind of P.
That's
what's gonna
interesting.
happen.
Power 105 is a very active station.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
it's
a
one of
lot
the
of
biggest.
music,
Really.
yeah.
I mean, shouts to them. They've had a good
Yeah,
run.
they've
Almost
had a
13
silly
years.
run. I
Fact.
bet.
13
Well,
years. so.
it's great. It's great.
How did you like get into like this industry and what you do?
Absolutely accidental, man.
For real?
I don't know that I ever grew up saying I wanted to do radio or television for that matter. What I did want to be was a journalist, but like CNN type. Do you get what I mean? So I mean, looking back though, I think a lot of it was, you know how you're a kid and there's all these things around you in your house and you're just soaking up, but you don't know you're soaking up. But as you
Has
grow older,
anyone in your family been in
I'm the
this
first
industry?
broadcaster in my family.
Wow.
Yeah, and but again, I wasn't gonna study this. I wasn't gonna do anything to this. But sometime in uni, I decided this is my path now. You know, and I started writing for a newspaper at the time. I was a campus reporter.
Wow.
After a while, I said, you know,
What did you study?
I studied crop science,
Wow.
agriculture.
Wow.
It's not here, man.
Pardon me, I'm
Bro,
sure
that's an amazing course.
Everybody gets thrown. I mean, I didn't really pay attention, to be honest.
Yeah, man, that's super cool, man. So like you studying like agricultural, what was it called? Agricultural science.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so was that like something you decided for yourself, or you were forced into it or convinced into it?
None of the above. It was like, so I wanted to study medicine. I wanted to go to medical school. The way it works in Nigeria is you write your UTME.
Yeah.
If you pass, you go and write your post-UTME.
Your post UTM.
So each uni obviously has a cutoff mark for a particular course. And I did have a decent score in post-UTME. I'm not dumb or anything. But according to the uni, it wasn't high enough to go to med school. Which I'm grateful for, because I really don't like blood. Come think of it.
I hear you.
But so what they do is then they disperse you to wherever they feel like.
Yes, I
right.
get
So they send people to pharmacy, biochemistry. I was sent to agriculture.
Wow.
And my dad and I were at the conversation. Do you want to have to retake exams and apply again? I'm just like,
Oh, don't do that, man. Agricultural science is amazing.
So it's great for people who want it.
It's
I didn't,
amazing.
I didn't care.
So you say you don't want blood or something? Like, does it have anything to do with blood?
No,
He
no.
said he became he
So
wanted to study medicine.
So studying medicine was really, it didn't make sense. To be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
When
yeah.
you think about it, I'm not into blood. I'm not into all those ghastly
Yeah.
things. Do you get it?
Injecting
Like,
people.
I'm not actually not into it.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
the time,
I don't
you
think
know,
I can inject someone.
do you get what I mean? But like when you're a kid,
Well,
you don't know these things fully.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
just never did that. But I just knew that I like to write, communicate with people. So when I had the opportunity in uni to start doing it, I started by writing, and then I found an internship at a radio station, and 10 years later, still
Oh,
there.
interesting. Oh, wow. From the internship.
Yeah,
Stretched out.
straight, man,
Serious.
straight.
That's solid, man.
So,
okay, go ahead.
So, like, what we're doing now is kind of like radio. Like, do you have any, like, advice for us? Like,
Yeah, putting me on the spot. So the thing that I've learned most with radio, especially during the time of radio that I do, because I wake up incredibly early and I have to be on super high energy to wake up the city every day. And I've been doing breakfast radio for maybe, out of the 10 years I've been on radio, maybe 6 or 7.
Wow.
I've been waking up super early in the morning.
Wow.
But what that teaches
That's
you,
dedication, man.
and discipline.
Discipline.
It's a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
It affects all manners of
Listen,
all
it's
aspects
a
of your life.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because now you guys offered me a drink the other time. I was like,
Exactly.
I can't take alcohol at the moment because first I have to come talk here.
You are
When I
managing
leave
your
here,
energy.
you get what I mean? I have to go do some more
You know
work.
yourself then.
I have to
Yeah.
go to bed at a certain time to be able to wake up with full strength at a certain time. That means I can't party hard as much as I'd like. This
You're
is
managing your energy.
I understand. I get that. I've been going through that. Like, we started this year, like in March.
Yeah.
February, March. Yeah, we started like, and since then, like I've noticed like a transformation. I actually cut down on like my vices a lot, just to like
It's
just
hard
to
initially.
keep sane, yeah.
But if you're waking up like me, I wake up at 3:30 and you're like, okay, I'm gonna open my laptop straight. I'm gonna open my document and start going through what the show is gonna look like. You're sucked in.
Yeah.
So you don't really think of much else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This stuff is time consuming. Just in case you're trying to get into it, just get ready.
Yeah.
Like, clear your schedule.
It's a
Your
lot.
time is your
And
money.
it's just, I think the trick to success for a lot of things is just show up.
Yep.
First step is to show up.
And
Show up
that's
every day.
discipline
For real.
still.
Yeah.
That's a lot of discipline.
Discipline, sure.
That's a lot of discipline.
Every day. Because
Stand
there are
on your
days,
word.
bro, there
Yeah.
are days when, especially the way the weather has been lately in Abuja, the rain is falling, everything is soft, it's sweet. You're under your duvet.
You're cozy.
Yeah.
Cozy, bro. You're like, why do I have to go?
Yeah. And if NEPA takes light.
Bro, like, why? Do you get what I mean?
Facts.
But the fact is that while you feel that way, or maybe you're just having bad times. Like, for example, last year, September 6th, I was on air, great energy, ready to go at about 5, maybe 10 past 6. I got a call that my grandma had passed. Wow. And she's
Sorry
like,
to
she's
hear
like
that.
my favorite person. Yeah, thank you. She's my favorite. You're my favorite person in the world. Do you get? And that, bro, I bawled, man. I cried, and did the
Still
show.
do your thing.
And I did the show for a whole week because it sort of helped me cope
Yeah.
before I took some time off for myself.
That's mad.
That's it. You still have to show up.
Discipline.
Yeah.
That's strength.
You're a disciplined man. I like that. Great.
So like the difference I would say from podcast and radio is like it's like televised these days more than I was a radio in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Do you feel like as if we should or we would televise it more? Are there like radio shows that will be on YouTube? I would love to see that.
I mean, they are currently in Nigeria.
I think like posting consistently.
Yeah. So this is the thing, and it's a good point that you brought up, because I feel that's where Nigerian radio, especially, is sort of lacking. So a lot of people say, "Oh, with the advent of podcasts, the radio is going to die," and it's not because I work in the medium primarily. Radio will never die. What radio will do is evolve.
Yeah.
So radio was here before TV.
Yep.
It didn't die. Radio was here before color TV. It didn't die. Radio was here before 24-hour news channel CNN. It didn't die. What radio does very well is evolve. But what Nigerian radio is not doing very well at the moment is the evolution. But I think somebody will hack it. You know, I feel like I feel like every radio station should have a podcast network.
Yep.
There are radio stations they're in like 5-6 cities. There are presenters who are beyond going on air and talking. They are creative in other ways. There are presenters who are good with video. They're good with audio editing, production, and a bunch of other things. All this skill set can be brought together to do a bunch of things. I feel genuinely that, and it's tricky for startups who don't have the might and financial power of radio. If the guys on radio, corporate radio, the corporates finally gets it, are like, oh, we need to put a lot of our content on video. We need to find a way to monetize it and make these numbers count for something. You know, what will then happen is they'll absorb, they'll try at least. So basically, I think that at the end of the day, Nigerian radio does need to do more to, you know, branch out to meet an audience that's only online. Because what Nigerian radio does very well right now is reach people terrestrially, the way traditionally they know how to do. But what they need to do better more of is, because there are people who, I mean, so if you have an iPhone, you can't listen to radio normally, terrestrially. You can only stream.
You can only stream it
You can
online.
stream from the radio station's app, or you can go to like a generic app and find the radio station, or via a website or
I
something.
think radio is still the most reachable.
Oh, def.
It has the most reach.
Def. Because it's free.
It's free and
You know, and
masses.
I know people say, oh, podcasts are free, but some podcasts are behind paywalls. On Apple, you can subscribe. You can only subscribe to get some pods, right?
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts launched a subscription service.
And you're burning your internet.
Do you get what I mean? Data is not free.
Data.
Luminary is a podcast provider. They have a subscription package as well. Tons of people do that. You know? Because to produce podcasts is not cheap. I mean, look at the setup you guys have here.
Yeah.
This costs money.
Yeah.
You
don't necessarily have to have this kind of setup. You can actually record depending on what your vision and your mission is.
Yeah, I know, but if you're gonna do something,
It's always nice to have nice things.
Think of it, radio stations to cost to set up.
They cost a lot of money to set up, and that's why they're very big on.
In a
very
radio
big on
station,
revenue.
what do you think the biggest cost you incur is?
Radio station?
Yeah. Like, let's say I want to start a radio station.
In Nigeria, the biggest cost you'll incur is just making sure your equipment work. It's power, bro.
Yeah.
You know how much diesel is now?
I mean,
Diesel is
speaking of,
crazy.
So it's like this, man. So at a radio station, you can't afford to go off for anything.
just like what
You
happened
have to
just
be
now.
stable.
Do you get what I
The
mean?
electricity.
So if you have, so this is a studio, for example.
Yeah.
If you have the whole of the building connected to power, that's
Yeah.
fine. So power goes off the whole of the building. The
room is
studio
still
lights
alive.
will still be on. The equipment needs to be on. That means you need to have like a backup, right?
You stand by,
That's your inverter, right?
Yeah.
So when power goes off, your inverter takes over,
Wow.
right? So here's the thing: you need to charge your inverter, so you make sure that your gen is always working and will always coming at some point. So the thing is, and even for that, there needs to be a fail-safe for the fail-safe. There needs to be a backup for the backup.
Yep.
If you're doing anything
Plan
in Nigeria,
D.
do you get what I mean? So
C and D.
So I think a lot of radio stations, that's where a lot of is, and personnel cost maybe, but you don't need 10,000 people to run a radio station. So you
Is
can
it
cut
crazy
down
to
there.
get a radio to get a license?
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
you can only
man.
get a license from my knowledge of it. You can only get a license from the presidency.
NCC.
Yeah, but the presidency has to be involved. The presidency doesn't joke with who
To have a
with who it
frequency, I
lets play around on our
Yeah,
on
because
our
having a
airwaves.
frequency is not a joke.
It's not
Yeah.
a joke.
It's a frequency.
It's very it's
It's
very
a frequency.
The bureaucracy with it is intense, and I get it. Considering Nigeria's history and everything,
Yeah.
you don't want people just coming on air,
And just
to see anything.
spewing.
But the flip side of that is some people will say the process sort of encourages censorship of the media. But there's a lot of other conversations there. But it's important to have regulation, you
Right,
know, in the
right.
industry. I'm very pro regulation in my media space, you know. but yeah, it's not an easy P to run a radio
Yeah. So
station.
speaking of like, what are the common technical issues still that you may face? Like, I think what you mentioned now, are they all the like aspects like electricity? Is that like the major technical issue that?
So to be honest, right? Because I've never owned a radio station, but
Okay.
I think I've worked on long enough to know how the setup works.
Yeah.
With any business, because it's a business.
Yeah.
But it's also like revenue streams. It's also like a thing I know radio stations face. Like enough revenue streams because every day there's a new radio station in Abuja now. Between
orange.
when we launched Sound City Radio and now, maybe like 8 more stations have launched. You know, we're all going for the same pie, really, and the share is only going to get smaller.
Yeah, it'll get
and yes,
smaller.
you know, depending on the station and depending on who's running
Depends
it.
on what you offer. You're offering
Yeah, if you
people.
offer good enough, you're always
Like,
going to
I
get
know I was
a
stuck
larger
on
pie.
Sound City for like a year.
Do you get
Yeah,
it?
Sound
Without
City is
changing my
actually
station.
my favorite radio station.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you can get a chunk of listeners, but you know you then have to think of other people. Are they getting the chunk? How are they going to meet costs and everything? So yeah, I think generally is money.
Because when you guys started,
Money is
you
the
guys
problem.
didn't have like ads, but I noticed that now you guys are doing like commercials.
Yeah, so
because you have to generate.
the main generation revenue of any radio station is adverts. I mean, you gotta. I mean, how
Most
we
platforms, to be
Yeah,
honest,
exactly.
yeah.
You need ads. I mean, how we run it is to make sure that the ads don't interfere with the experience of the listener.
So you
We're
make them
creative
brief.
about that. Yeah, there's ways we throw them around. So I think you guys, even with pods, right? There's
Yeah.
a psychology to the production because even when you are talking to the listener, you don't want to bore them.
Yeah.
You also don't want to play too much ads. You don't want to. Also, you want to play a certain kind of song that resonates. So that's why it's a whole academic
You have, to
piece.
set, you have to strategize.
Yeah,
We'll
so
start
far,
discussing radio formats, why this radio format works, why this doesn't work, and so on. It's very academic, but the point is that there's a lot of strategy that goes into play to make
Into
sure
that.
that the experience is legit for the listener.
I get you.
So you also run a top 20 chart show.
Yeah, countdown show. Yeah.
Is that a morning show as well?
No, that's a once a week Sundays across our network. So I mean, my station is in 5 cities presently in Nigeria,
Okay.
or elsewhere as well. But yeah, so the show goes around.
So that's a countdown of like the top 20 hottest
Nigerian
songs. That's
Yeah,
interesting. Sick.
yeah.
So you're up to date with whatever is like
Man, I try. It's tough.
popping. Have you heard that Machala song? Machala.
Love
What
it.
is it? What
It's-
number is
it's,
it on now?
So I am. So depending when is this gonna come out first? I need to know.
It's going to come out in 2 days from
2
now.
days,
So
2 days.
on the 13th, possibly.
So that's before the chat airs. I can tell you that Machala is going to make an impact on it. From what I can tell, I can tell you. I'm not going to tell you.
By Wizkid.
That's
So
no.
this,
This comedian Carter FA.
Yeah, with the lisp.
Yeah.
With the gap teeth.
Machala.
Yeah, that guy.
Machala.
So he's done a song
guy
in
is funny
tribute
to me, man.
in tribute to
As fuck.
Wizkid,
Oh, he sang a song.
and it bangs.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's
like
hot.
basically about
I'm not
Machala.
gonna lie, I've been
Wizkid.
playing it since I came back from my holiday, and it's
Yeah, I'm
Really?
gonna bump it.
Shout out to my guy.
stick jam.
Well, how do you feel about like the industry out here? The music industry.
In it,
you play a lot of music.
I do
have to be in tune with sound.
music industry in Nigeria or in ABJ.
Let's start from we'll deal with like 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like biggest.
Gotcha.
So let's Abuja.
So I love ABJ. I love that. So I've worked in maybe 3-4 cities in radio. ABJ has to be the city with some of the most talented people ever.
Most definitely.
When I got here, we were spoiled for choice because obviously one of the things that we do very well is to support homegrown talent, right? So it was very important to us to make sure that we were dialed in to the culture of ABJ, and that meant I was going to every concert I could go to. I was shazamming everybody's song. I was walking up to artists and being
Getting
like,
accustomed
I
to
like
the
your
city.
song. Can I play it on the radio and stuff?
Wow.
I was sharing my emails. That email got so full that we had to change emails, right?
Wow.
But really, what's happened is I feel like there's been evident growth in the last few years. I've been here about 4 years now, and the growth is evident because you see that a lot of the artists who have been grinding out here in ABJ, especially for a minute, they're going national now. They're being reckoned with on a bigger level, and I think
And
that's
you guys
that's
are key
the goal.
players too.
Yeah, I mean we try, but it also comes down to the work ethic and the grind of the individual
artist,
artists,
yeah.
right?
Sure.
And the understanding that you know, and I know this P because everybody's like, it gets to a point you're hot and you're like, oh my, they go Lagos, go and blow.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, I've never been a proponent of that. I feel like,
Same.
yes, Lagos is great for marketing, and you do need
Yeah.
Lagos back in. You do need to go to Lagos, meet all the media guys and know whatever.
Exactly.
But you can still come out here and record. I was listening to a podcast. Dario was on a podcast some time ago, and they were breaking down.
Atalade?
Yes, the Dario Atalade.
Oh, wow.
And they were breaking down like his old projects, and he was giving, and he was like, one of the best recording experiences he's ever had in his entire career was the album he recorded in Abuja. Like, he was here, they had a recording camp, did everything, and he was sick. Right, everything worked, and that's one of his best albums. I forgot the name now, but it's important to know that Abuja just fosters that. I know there's a lot of misconceptions about it being too quiet or whatever.
Abuja is serene.
Mad
For a
creativity
creative.
bubbling.
Yeah.
You get
For a
me?
creative, you need serenity.
Honestly.
You can think.
Yeah, especially ones like Lagos and Abuja. Like, Lagos is the big market, but like, you should come to Abuja and have the experience as well to definitely add a lot of like
I
inspiration.
even see Abuja as on time.
Good. So here's what I
Untapped.
think. I get the argument because Lagos is where everybody is. All the labels are there, right? Cool. But here's what I think. Create in Abuja. Create really dope stuff in Abuja. Go and sell in Lagos. Because why not?
Why not?
But if you want to create constantly in Lagos, it's gonna mess with you. You can't just
You have to
can't
change,
do
you
that
have
at
to
a
change
very
have to change
yourself.
scenery.
You have to be a Lagos boy.
and you stop.
And you have to do what you know how
Yeah.
Lagos boys do.
Bro, I tell you what,
Abuja boys no dey like
a ton
Lagos
of the
boys.
a ton of the albums that have been recorded in the last maybe 3 years that have dropped by some artists, they've had recording camps here in Abuja.
Yeah.
They come up to ABJ
come
for
here.
camps,
Yeah.
songwriting camps, and do everything. And
It
like,
goes
alright,
deep,
cool.
even to the visuals now.
Do you get me?
don't
They
even shoot,
come up here.
here to
They come up here to
shoot
shoot.
because they've used technically almost everywhere
Yeah,
in Lagos.
it's fresher here.
Yeah, like, speaking of artists and walking up to them and like asking them to get their songs on. Now, how would you rate an artist song that you would like that would go on the radio, for example? Like, what are the
Criteria.
characteristics exactly? What would you say it has to be there? Does it have to be popping, or does it have to just sound good?
Or does he have to pay, or does he have to?
So no, I mean, for us, you don't have to do any of the payment fee, right? But like, the song has to be dope. I mean, I don't know that
Because
they're
they're
like.
about to put this in faces of millions of people.
Nah, listen.
I don't want to even play.
Nah,
If
listen,
if I was a DJ
Yeah.
or a TV host,
Yeah.
my scrutiny would be hard.
No, so here's the thing, right? Fortunately, a song getting on Sound City isn't even dependent on me, or should I say just me. There's a whole team. It's a whole team effort.
Okay,
right?
okay.
There's a whole department.
You guys are very music conscious.
Do you
so
get me?
I get why.
Because our primary product is music. So there's a whole department that makes sure
The playlist is hot.
that what we're doing is dope. And even when we want to support homegrown talents, we're not just going to play every other jam. You know, we have to play jams because it's a tight playlist. It's competitive.
You have to blend
You're competing for airspace with Davido, Burner, Wiz. So after a Wiz, we want to play.
True.
Want to play Kaisma, for example. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's song you cannot play a David song and then pop a song off and make the listener feel like waiting with this.
Yeah.
It's got to match.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to
So,
blend it.
Flow.
so essentially that's what it is. I mean, but there's a whole team that's responsible for that. But what I've learned in my experience here in ABJ is the quality has been dope. All the way, man. All the way. And even now, I don't walk up to people again to ask for songs. I'm not just out and about that often anymore. But I get bare DMs.
Yeah.
And I always just leave my email, you share it. And if
You
the song
actually
goes through our
listen to it.
process, it gets on air, man. You know, and that's really what it is.
Interesting.
That's solid. So what's your typical day like?
Yo, man.
What's your typical day?
First of all, I'll just be honest and tell you that I like routines. I love routines, man. I know for some people that means that shit is boring, but it just works.
I like routines too.
I
man.
love routines. I start my day at 3:30 every day. My alarm says 3:45, but I'm almost always up before my alarm goes
You have
off.
a natural alarm.
I'm just up, and it's up, and it's straight to my desk. It's my laptop is open. I'm opening my document that has my we call it show prep. That has basically my rundown for what I'll do on the radio show that morning. I'm going to go on the internet and I'm going to research the hell out of everything I'm going to say, make sure it's tight. If there are bits that need me to create content or maybe adopt content of the internet, I need to make sure all of those things are ready to go as well.
Facts.
And, you know, generally, if you want all the information, by 5, I'm usually in the bathroom.
Yeah, we're just speaking now. You're like,
Yeah.
you had to start today at 1 a.m.
Okay, yes. So
That blew my mind,
So
to be
today
honest.
is a special day. Today,
Yeah.
Thursdays are my most hectic days, and the fact that we're managing to
Why
work-
so?
So because I technically run 2 shows on Thursdays. One of them, well, I prep for one that's going to air that's coming on Sunday.
Wow.
But the prep starts. The production prep starts from now, for me at least.
Yeah.
It starts on Tuesday for the rest of the team, but I come in on a Thursday. So I script the hell out of everything I do, right? So and that's a lot of writing.
A lot of
So
scrutiny.
if I write for my morning show, I have to write ahead of time as well for Sunday.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of bunch of things. And that means conducting interviews, researching things. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. More power to you, man.
No, it's a lot of
More
work.
power to
Man.
you.
But today was just special that because I have a ton of things to do. And
Yeah.
it just made sense in my head that if you start at 1:30, you can get things done faster. And so far it's worked because if I didn't start my day at 1:30, I probably wouldn't be able to make it here.
I subscribe to that idea. Like I wake up early. I wake up at like 4 every day. And before 7, I technically finish everything.
Yeah.
I finish my day before 7.
I mean, it depends on how you're set up as a person.
Yeah, I'm a morning person as well.
Great.
I love morning.
If you're a morning person, then you're very, very productive. I know for sure, like a lot of my friends know this as well. Once it's like 2 in the afternoon, I'm chill. Once I've had lunch, like this,
Yeah.
I've powered down. You're not going to get
Sleep,
anything out of
rest.
me till maybe late night.
I mean, that mine is like 9 midnight.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Sorry, not say midnight. Sorry, 9 in the evening.
Yeah.
That's when my metabolism goes.
Oh
down.
yeah. Me once the sun is coming down, all I want to do is watch TV or listen to a
That's
podcast.
dope.
and
Because you're so
relax.
productive from early.
Do you get what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
your body eventually lets you know that we need to chill.
And one thing I just discovered recently from waking up early is that you have more time than another person. Do you know that?
Yeah.
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 It's like you're
You
buying
have
more
more
hours
time.
in a day.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, how do people get on your morning show? The what's up, ABJ? Like, how there's a number to call, right? How do you?
Yeah. So, here's how a radio show works, right?
Tell me, enlighten me.
Here's how a radio show works.
Yeah.
There's a presenter or presenters who
Yeah.
are on the radio show. They're
Yeah.
behind the microphone. There's
Yeah.
people in their cars, houses, wherever, or
Yeah.
apps. What? Radio shows have what you call segments.
Okay.
Or elements
Yeah.
or features. These could be games. They could be informative bits.
Yeah.
They could be educative bits.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. They could be interviews. It could be anything.
Yeah.
It's all packed. Now, typically, a morning show has a lot of things going.
Yeah.
Morning shows are typically very busy.
Yeah.
So, yes, a lot of morning shows will have a part where you can call in. A lot of morning shows will have a part where you can engage with a certain topic via social media. I tend to favor playing a lot of games. So
Okay.
every day there's a different game that I play on the radio.
Yeah.
But there's also like the part that I know bangs a lot with listeners is a bit, the 1 minute bits I do every morning called "You Can't Make This Stuff Up."
Okay.
And just like the
Where
name
you have to
says,
say something crazy.
do you get,
Yeah.
like
Crazy
for example,
experience.
there's I mean,
What's the name of your AI again? What's her name?
Good,
Yeah.
IJ.
Yeah.
He listens to the show.
Yeah.
This man listens to the show. You
So
don't.
you know when I had the accident, right?
Yeah.
You know when I went MIA for a month, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even, my phone was switched off,
Yeah.
but I was listening to the radio.
That's
and
mad, though.
I was stuck on Sound City for
In the hospital?
exactly 30 days. Yeah,
Oh.
30
Kudos
days
to you.
straight.
Hey, shouts to that. But
Yeah.
what? So basically, we do all. So each station has their own thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Recently on my show, at the top of the year, we launched an AI.
Yeah.
Basically, like Siri, like Alexa.
Okay.
We have one on the show.
Okay.
She's called IJ.
Okay.
The only thing is, IJ's not a bit loose.
Yeah.
So
No, bro, she cracks me up, bro.
yeah. So she's funny.
She's
She's
so
witty.
funny,
she's
bro.
very sassy.
I feel like that's innovative, like very futuristic.
Exactly.
Like,
It's
yeah.
things like that. So it's little
Yeah.
things like that that give us
Yeah.
the edge, I guess.
So like I think the main place I wanted to get to, and we have to wrap up now, is how like it's live, right? When you're on
Yeah.
your live.
Yeah.
So if I'm tuned into your station, like I
Yeah.
can call the number and
Yeah.
I would.
Talk to me.
if I want to pick your call,
if you want to pick
if
the
I'm
call.
taking calls,
So
at
how does that
time,
work
sure.
out? Like the phone calls that like.
You have a machine. For
Do you have a,
What-
sec- a
what is-
segment for phone calls?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Are you saying that do we let crazy people get on air? Or
More or
not?
less.
Or how do we
And
stop?
like if I, for example, if I call the number, would I? Yeah. Do you screen people that exactly? That's my question.
Yeah, that's the I know what
Yeah.
I know exactly what it is. So different stations have different policies.
Okay.
Ideally,
Yeah.
so I'm going to get technical. So permit me to get a bit technical here.
Right.
Ideally, because this is not the case in practice, but it should be.
Yeah.
Every station ought to have a delay machine installed,
Okay.
right? The delay machine basically
buys you time.
It's like maybe takes like 3-4 seconds off what you're hearing. So what you're hearing it has happened 5 seconds before you hear it.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
In some countries, you can't start a radio station if that machine hasn't been installed. Right?
Yeah.
And the delay also does what we call a broadcast dump.
Okay.
So this is the more advanced radio markets like Australia and America.
Yeah.
If the presenter or somebody manages to get on air and says something bad before anybody can catch it, you have to dump that whole broadcast. So there's a whole siren that goes up. But that's not even in Nigeria yet. Instead, what stations have done creatively in Nigeria is to pre-record phone calls. So when you call in, there's a screening. Sometimes it's happening, especially for talk radio stations, people that talk about political issues a lot. There's somebody who screens the caller and says, okay, they just try to, where are you calling from, who are you, ask you a few questions to know that you're all right.
Politically correct.
Yeah.
And then send you on air to go and talk what you want to say, right?
Okay.
And then there are people who, at the same time, for some stations, they can record the calls. So they record it for brevity and clarity.
Okay.
So when you call me, you and I can have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
And then it could have happened, and this is like radio magic that I'm teaching, where you can read about this. It's available on Wikipedia. Just
For
read.
the free.
Yeah, I'm giving you gems. But basically, you can record bits, and then it airs a few minutes after you've called.
Yeah.
But what's happened is only parts that are relevant
Yeah.
to the broadcast are aired, so that
So there's still
so
some.
if you
they chop it up.
swear accidentally, or if you say something you don't want to share to the public, that can be taken out, and
Oh, interesting. So, I'm sure a lot of people have been
I've
enlightened.
learned a lot.
Yeah, mad.
Especially with the delay thing, because my brain has wandered.
Oh, really? So in Nigeria, you hear a lot of, if you listen very carefully, you hear a lot of radio presenters say, "Oh, snap! We just lost that. We just lost that caller."
Yeah.
Man, they're ending that shit themselves.
Facts.
Because there is no delay installed for a lot of us.
I think
That's
we should
crazy.
do this again soon. To be honest,
sure.
This flowed very well. I feel like we are all experienced in this space.
Well,
and it
tune
helps.
into its frequency.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit tempted. Before we end, I'm sorry.
go on.
It's force of habit. I have a couple of questions.
Yeah,
Go on.
why not?
Why did you two decide to start a podcast, and why did you call it Big Talk?
Because small talk. So I like confrontational. I like conversations. I believe there's a lot that can be done. Like a lot can be improved. Like almost everything can be solved through conversations. So, and a lot of times people talk and they small talk. You know what I mean? And they don't talk about the main issue. They go around the bush. So naming it Big Talk is going straight to the point of topics like Big Talk.
So I know you guys have only been around
Right.
for a few
Spot on, bro.
for a
Since
few weeks.
February.
I've listened to all your episodes.
Wow. Cheers.
All your episodes. I've liked all your guests.
Wow.
That's big
Thanks.
love, man.
Love,
Who's
man.
your favorite guest so far?
So far, that's mad. It's going to be with.
You both have to answer this. I'm sorry. I'm now.
It's like
I'm
Super Wozzy had the most traction, so shout out to Super Wozzy for that. That's on TikTok.
Super
Follow us on
Wozzy's had the most,
Yeah.
right?
So I would say my favorite guest.
I can't like
Oh my
enjoy
days. Can I do top 3 or should I choose one?
How many have you had? Don't play with me.
all right. I have to say Big Gun or the Mood Black.
The Modu Black?
True,
I like that episode.
Yeah.
I would say I enjoyed Super Wozzy's own.
Yeah.
Because of the conversation we're having, like the whole police brutality,
Yeah.
and at that very moment, like I was enraged about that. So
Yeah.
I was so swallowed in the conversation. I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
I didn't even say a word. I was like
Yeah.
backing him up.
So one final thing. What's your ultimate goal here?
To be the biggest podcast, like the name implies.
Love it.
Big
Big
biggest
talk
podcast.
and to spread the gospel,
Yeah.
I love it.
the
man.
gospel of truth.
Fuck with it.
Osato EDK. Thanks for coming on and big
Yeah,
love,
man, big love. It's a
Thank you for
privilege
having
to
me.
have you here.
Big Talk Podcast.
Yeah,
Talk.
man.
Always a pleasure.
African man, original.
Yeah, my
man.
guy.
Do you have any word? Do you have
I'm not in the 254 back in the
Yes,
day.
nah.
You get me?
Yeah, any word for the people? Just
No, man.
in closing, putting you on the spot again.
Man, guy.
Before you close, we do praise and worship.
Okay, fantastic. No, but legit, I think in closing, what I would say, and I think this is something that needs to be repeated as often as possible, is please get involved in the electoral process. Get
Please.
involved in the political process
Please.
in Nigeria. There's bare people who are
We're the only ones that
who are
can
escaping.
change it.
Yeah.
But the rest of us that cannot escape, we have to make sure that what's left of the country works for us. So
Yeah.
please, I don't know who you're supporting. I don't whatever.
Please, let's
But
vote,
make sure you have your
guys.
your
Young
voter's
people
card.
like us.
Make sure you go out. Make sure you get involved in the
part of it,
conversations.
please.
Yeah.
And do what you need to do.
Yeah. So, Thanks for liking, subscribing, following, and watching the Big Talk podcast.
One more thing.
Big love to all of you.
My
lot.
EP drops this month, so stay on the
One more thing. Follow me everywhere on social media.
Yeah.
All the links will be in.
At SATOEDK. I never say this on here, so I have to say here. At SATOEDK. I feel like an artist.
Big love.
We put
all the links and everything will be in the description.
Art.
It is. I like that. It is an art.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So, Big Talk, biggest podcast. We out. Peace.
We out. Big Talk.